Theresa May, the British Prime Minister, is set for a second humiliating defeat when she brings her deal back to the House of Commons this coming Tuesday. To preempt this result, she held a speech in the town of Grimsby, a town whose residents have voted largely for Brexit 3 years ago. During her speech, Theresa May directed her talking points to the British MPs and to the European Union. To the MPs, she said, "Get it done," and asked them to back her deal, telling them that not completing the Brexit would either cancel it completely or eventually water it down. She said that the government, hers or any government that comes after her, will have to get on with all the other important issues that people care about, and that the British public have got irritated and confounded by all the proceedings that have been going on for the past 2 years. The British people want to get on with it. She also directed her speech to the European Union. She urged them to make new concessions over the Irish backstop, the issue that's causing many of MPs from Theresa May's party, the Conservative Party, to vote against the deal the first time and are expected to always vote down her deal. That's why Theresa May is asking the EU to make a choice now as well. She's saying that Britain and the EU are both participants in this process, and it's in the European interest for the UK to leave with a deal, to leave properly with rules set. She said that European leaders told her that they worry that the time is running out and the British people have just one chance left and that they have to make it right. And Theresa May retorts by saying that her message to them is that now is the moment for the both of them to act out. However, the response of the Europeans was less than favorable for Theresa May. Michel Barnier, the chief EU negotiator for Brexit, has rebuffed completely Theresa's requests. Barnier immediately responded with an offer of reverting back to his original plan, and that's of course the North Ireland only backstop, which of course May has been repeatedly saying that no British Prime Minister could accept, because of course it risks creating a border in the Irish Sea between the island of Ireland and Britain. Of course, this backstop was vehemently voted down by the government partners, especially the DUP, a North Irish party that's propping up Theresa May's government, because accepting the EU proposal of a North Ireland backstop would ignite fears of the Protestant Irish that Northern Ireland may be severed from Britain, and that would push towards a united Ireland, and they are of course against that. Nigel Dodds, the DUP deputy leader, said that the backstop is neither a realistic nor a sensible proposal from Michel Barnier. It disrespects the constitutional and economic integrity of the United Kingdom. And so, Stephen Barclay, the Brexit secretary in the British government, has replied that with a very real deadline looming, now is not the time to return to old arguments. He is, of course, rebuffing Barnier's reply. So, what are the choices that Theresa May and the British Parliament could be making? The vote would be on Tuesday, March 12th. If the British MPs accept Theresa May's deal, UK will leave the European Union on March 29th. And what's that deal exactly? Well, it's not a trade deal, first of all. It's simply an agreement to allow Britain to leave the EU in an orderly fashion, more or less, minimizing any disruptions, major disruptions to businesses and the movements of citizens between EU and Britain. What it puts in place is a transition period extending for 21 months, during which both sides would come up, hopefully, with a permanent deal. Now, what happens if the British Parliament refuses the deal? A resolution had already been passed that if the deal was rejected, a vote would be scheduled the next day, that's on the 13th, to vote whether Britain would venture on a no deal or not. So if the Parliament voted yes, they are willing to vote for a leave with no deal, then UK will leave the EU on March 29th without a deal. What if the Parliament rejected that deal? Then the Parliament on the 14th of March, that's 2 days after Tuesday, will vote on delaying the Brexit, that is, extending the Article 50. If the EU accepts, then Theresa May and the British Parliament will have to think amongst a number of options. Will they vote further on another PM's deal? Or will there be no Brexit, a new election, a second referendum, a renegotiation with the EU, a vote of no confidence, no deal at all? Though the British political landscape is on for a lot of turmoil if the next vote, that's next Tuesday, is rejected in the Parliament. And it's most likely to be.